Marcus Thompson dropped to his knees in the parking lot, his hands still black with grease, and watched a woman in a designer suit throw a crumpled $20 bill at his face. "Pathetic," she spat. "A grown man too stupid to charge for his own work." 30 seconds later, his boss fired him in front of everyone. Marcus was 38, a single father. His daughter needed heart surgery in 3 weeks, and he had just lost everything for one act of kindness. But what no one knew, not Marcus, not his boss, not a single person watching, was that this woman was not who she pretended to be. And that $20 bill, it would become the most valuable piece of paper in Marcus's life. Before we continue, if stories of redemption and justice move you, subscribe to this channel. And when you finish, comment below which city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. Marcus Thompson had not slept more than 4 hours in 6 days. He stood at his workstation inside Crawford Luxury Motors, the most prestigious auto dealership in Phoenix, Arizona, rolling a socket wrench between his fingers. The metal was warm. Everything in Phoenix was warm. The air, the tools, the pavement outside that could fry an egg by noon. But Marcus had stopped noticing the heat years ago. What he noticed was the clock on the wall. 2:47 p.m. His shift ended at 6, 3 more hours. 3 more hours, and he could pick up Lily from her aunt's house, cook her something that wasn't microwaved, and pretend everything was fine. Pretend the surgery wasn't in 22 days. Pretend the insurance company hadn't denied coverage for the 3rd time. Pretend he wasn't $44,000 short. "Thompson." Marcus turned. Ricky Delgado, the service manager, was waving from across the floor. "Got a walk-in, Bay 4. Some lady with a smoking Mercedes." Marcus nodded and set down the wrench. Walk-ins were rare at Crawford Luxury Motors. This wasn't the kind of place where people just dropped by. You made appointments. You waited. You paid premium prices for the privilege of having your European car touched by certified technicians. But Marcus wasn't certified, not officially. He had learned everything from his father, Samuel Thompson, who spent 41 years under the hoods of other people's cars in a 2-bay shop on the south side of Chicago. Samuel never had a diploma, never had a fancy title, but he could diagnose a V8 by sound alone, and he taught Marcus everything, every trick, every shortcut, every lesson about what it meant to work with your hands. "Your hands are your words, son," Samuel used to say. "When you fix something, you're making a promise. Don't ever break it." Samuel died 8 years ago. Heart attack at his workbench. He was 63. Marcus was 30 now, and he still heard his father's voice every single day. He grabbed a rag from his back pocket and walked toward Bay 4. Dig. The Mercedes was a S-Class sedan, black, worth more than Marcus made in 2 years. Smoke poured from under the hood, and the smell of burning coolant filled the air. A woman stood beside it. She was maybe 65, maybe 70, hard to tell. She wore a cream-colored suit that probably cost more than Marcus's rent. Her hair was silver, pulled back tight. Her face was sharp cheekbones, like Blade's lips, pressed into a thin line. Everything about her screamed money, old money, the kind of money that didn't need to prove anything to anyone. She was on her phone, speaking fast, irritated. "I don't care what the quarterly projections say. If Chen can't deliver by Friday, we find someone who can. I didn't build this company by accepting excuses." Marcus approached slowly. He waited. The woman glanced at him, then looked away, still talking. Marcus waited another 30 seconds. Finally, she ended the call and turned to face him. "Well?" she said. "Are you going to stand there, or are you going to tell me why my car is dying?" "Ma'am, I haven't looked at it yet. I just got here." "Then look at it. That's your job, isn't it?" Marcus kept his face neutral. He had dealt with people like this before. Rich people who treated service workers like furniture, like obstacles. He popped the hood. The smoke was worse up close. He waved it away and leaned in, examining the engine bay. It took him less than a minute to see the problem. Someone had sliced the coolant hose. Clean cut. Deliberate. This wasn't wear and tear. This was sabotage. He frowned. "Ma'am," he said carefully, "when did you first notice the smoke?" 20 minutes ago. I was leaving a meeting downtown, and it started pouring out. I barely made it here. Where did you park during the meeting? Underground garage at the Rexford building. Why? Marcus straightened up. Because someone cut your coolant hose. The woman's expression flickered, just for a second. Something crossed her face, surprise maybe, or something else. Cut it. You mean intentionally? Yes, ma'am. Clean slice. Probably a razor blade or a box cutter. Someone wanted your car to overheat. She stared at him. Her eyes were dark brown, almost black, and there was an intensity in them that made Marcus uneasy. Can you fix it? She asked. Yes, ma'am. It's not complicated. I'll need to replace the hose and flush the system, make sure no damage was done to the engine. Should take a couple hours. Fine. Do it. She turned away and started tapping on her phone again. Marcus hesitated. Ma'am? What? The hose I need, we don't have it in stock for this model. I'd have to order it, and it wouldn't arrive until tomorrow. The woman's jaw tightened. Tomorrow is unacceptable. I have meetings tonight. I need this car. I understand, but figure it out. That's what I'm paying you for. She walked away without another word, heading toward the customer lounge. Marcus stood there looking at the ruined hose in his hands. He thought about his options. He could tell Ricky there was nothing he could do, that the part wasn't available, that the woman would have to wait like everyone else. But then he remembered something. 3 months ago, he had replaced a similar hose on a different Mercedes. The old hose was damaged, but not destroyed. He had kept it in his locker, a habit from his father, who never threw anything away. You never know when a spare part might save someone's son. Marcus walked to the back of the shop, opened his locker, and found the hose. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't new, but it would work. He grabbed it and headed back to Bay 4. 2.5 hours later, Marcus was drenched in sweat. He had replaced the hose flushed, the cooling system checked the thermostat, and inspected the water pump. Everything looked good. The engine hadn't suffered any permanent damage. He also noticed something else during his inspection. The brake lines showed signs of tampering. Someone had loosened the fittings. Not enough to cause an immediate failure, but enough that the brakes would eventually give out, probably at high speed, probably on the highway. Marcus's stomach turned. This wasn't just sabotage. Someone was trying to kill this woman. He tightened the brake fittings, bled the lines, and tested everything twice. Then he wiped his hands on his rag and went to find her. She was in the lounge, still on her phone, a cup of coffee untouched on the table beside her. "Ma'am," Marcus said, "your car's ready?" She looked up. "Finally. How much?" Marcus took a breath. This was the moment. "Nothing," he said. The woman blinked. "Excuse me. You don't owe me anything. The hose I used was a spare I had in my locker. And ma'am, I need to tell you something important. Someone tampered with your brakes, too. The fittings were loosened. If you had driven much longer, especially at highway speed, you could have lost braking power completely. I fixed it, but you need to know someone is trying to hurt you, maybe worse." The woman stared at him. Her face was unreadable. "You fixed my brakes," she said slowly, "and you're not charging me." "That's right." "Why?" Marcus shrugged. "Because it was the right thing to do. Whoever did this to your car wanted you dead. I couldn't let you drive away without fixing it. And I couldn't charge you for something like that. It wouldn't be right." The woman set her phone down on the table. She stood up, and for a moment Marcus thought she might thank him. Instead, she laughed. It was a cold sound, brittle, like ice cracking. "The right thing to do," she repeated. How noble, how incredibly naive. Marcus felt his face flush. "Ma'am, you know what you just did. You worked for free. You used your own resources, your own time. And for what? So you could feel good about yourself. I did it because you're a fool," she cut him off. "A sentimental, soft-headed fool who doesn't understand how the world works. People don't give things away. That's not how you survive. That's not how you succeed. That's how you stay poor and pathetic for your entire life." She reached into her purse and pulled out a $20 bill. She held it up between two fingers, looked Marcus dead in the eyes, and let it fall. It drifted down and landed on the floor at his feet. "For your trouble," she said, "since you're apparently too stupid to charge what you're worth." Marcus didn't move. He didn't pick up the bill. He just stood there, feeling the heat rise in his chest, feeling the anger build behind his eyes. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "I was trying to help you. I don't need your help. I don't need anyone's help. That's the difference between people like me and people like you. I take what I want. You wait for scraps." She picked up her purse and walked past him toward the door. Marcus watched her go. He thought about his daughter. He thought about the surgery. He thought about the $44,000 he didn't have and might never have. And he thought about his father, who spent his whole life helping people who died with nothing in the bank, who was the best man Marcus had ever known. He bent down and picked up the $20 bill, not because he wanted it, but because he wouldn't leave it on the floor. He wouldn't give her the satisfaction. He folded it carefully and put it in his pocket. "Thompson." The voice came from behind him. Marcus turned. Gerald Crawford stood in the doorway of the customer lounge. He was the owner of Crawford Luxury Motors, a heavy-set man in his 60s with a ruddy face and small, calculating eyes. He wore suits that cost more than Marcus's truck and watches that cost more than Marcus's house. "My office," Crawford said. "Now." Marcus followed him. The office was cold, air-conditioned to the point of discomfort. Crawford sat behind his desk, and Marcus stood in front of it like a student called to the principal. "Close the door," Crawford said. Marcus closed it. "Do you know who that woman was?" "No, sir." "Victoria Chen, CEO of Chen Logistics. They're one of the largest supply chain companies on the West Coast. We've been courting them for 6 months. 6 months of dinners and phone calls and presentations. They were about to sign a contract with us for their entire corporate fleet. 47 vehicles. Service, maintenance, everything. Do you know how much that contract was worth?" Marcus shook his head. $1.2 million over 3 years. Marcus felt something cold settle in his stomach. "She just called me," Crawford continued, "from her car. She told me what happened. She told me that one of my mechanics refused to charge her used his own parts and then lectured her about brake tampering like he was some kind of hero. Sir, someone was trying to kill her. You had to do what play detective, play savior." Crawford leaned forward. "You work for me, Thompson. When a customer walks through that door, they're not a person to you. They're a transaction. You diagnose, you quote, you charge, you collect. That's it. That's the entire job." "But she was in danger." "I don't care." Crawford slammed his hand on the desk. "I don't care if her car was about to explode. I don't care if the President of the United States was trying to assassinate her. Your job is to make money for this dealership. And instead you cost me $1.2 million. Marcus stood very still. "Sir," he said, "I've worked here for 6 years. I've never missed a day. I've never had a complaint. I've done everything you've asked. And now you've done something I can't overlook." Crawford leaned back in his chair. "You're fired." The word hit Marcus like a physical blow. "Sir, clean out your locker. Turn in your badge. You have 15 minutes. "Mr. Crawford, please. I have a daughter. She's 12 years old. She needs surgery. I need this job." "You should have thought about that before you decided to play hero." Marcus felt the floor tilt beneath him. He thought about Lily, about her smile, about the way she laughed at his terrible jokes, about the picture she had drawn him last Father's Day. A crayon drawing of the two of them standing in front of a house with a big yellow sun overhead. He thought about the hospital bills stacked on his kitchen counter. He thought about the phone calls from collectors that he had stopped answering. He thought about Maria, his wife, who had died 2 years ago in a hospital bed, holding his hand, making him promise to take care of their little girl. "Please," Marcus said, "I'm begging you." Crawford stared at him for a long moment. Then he shook his head. 15 minutes. Marcus cleaned out his locker in 12. He didn't have much. a few tools his father had given him, a photo of Lily taped to the inside of the door, the spare Mercedes hose he had used to help a stranger who had thrown money in his face. He put everything in his backpack. Ricky Delgado found him at the exit. "Marcus, man, I heard what happened. I'm sorry. Crawford's a piece of work." "It's fine." "It's not fine. You're the best mechanic we've got. Everyone knows it. The guys are talking about walking out." "Don't." Marcus looked at him. "Don't do that. You've got families. You've got bills. Don't throw away your jobs for me." "But what are you going to do?" Marcus shouldered his backpack. "Figure it out," he said. "That's what I always do." He walked out into the parking lot. The sun was brutal, hanging low in the western sky, turning everything gold and orange. Marcus squinted against the glare and started walking. He didn't have money for a cab. He didn't have anyone to call. He just walked. The house was dark when Marcus got home. He had walked for almost an hour. His shirt was soaked through. His feet ached, but he barely noticed. He unlocked the front door and stepped inside. The living room was small, cluttered with the artifacts of a life built on minimum wage and maximum effort. A second-hand couch, a TV that was 15 years old, a coffee table covered in Lily's homework and medical bills. Marcus sat down on the couch. He pulled the $20 bill from his pocket and looked at it. "For your trouble." He thought about crumpling it, throwing it away, burning it. Instead, he folded it carefully and set it on the coffee table. He didn't know why. He just knew he couldn't let go of it. Not yet. His phone buzzed. He pulled it out. A text from his sister Denise. "Lily had a great day. She's sleeping over here tonight. Don't worry about picking her up. Love you." Marcus typed back, "Love you too. Thank you." He set the phone down. He should call Denise, tell her what happened. But he couldn't. Not tonight. He couldn't hear the worry in her voice. He couldn't answer her questions. He needed one night to fall apart, one night to figure out what came next. He leaned back on the couch and stared at the ceiling. The house was quiet. Too quiet. He closed his eyes. And for the first time in 2 years, since the night Maria died, Marcus Thompson let himself cry. He didn't sleep. He sat on that couch all night, watching the shadows move across the wall, thinking. Thinking about the jobs he would have to find. Thinking about the surgeons he would have to beg. Thinking about the promises he had made to his dying wife. "Take care of her, Marcus. Promise me. No matter what happens, you take care of our baby girl." "I promise." He had meant it. He still meant it. But meaning something and doing something were two different things. At 6 in the morning, Marcus made coffee. At 7, he started making calls. By noon, he had contacted 14 auto shops across Phoenix. Everyone was polite, everyone was sympathetic, and everyone said the same thing. "Sorry, man, we're not hiring." "You're good. I've heard of you, but our budget's tight." "You're how old? 38. Look, no offense, but we're looking for younger guys." "You don't have formal certification. That's a deal breaker for our insurance." By 3 in the afternoon, Marcus had run out of numbers to call. He sat at his kitchen table staring at his phone, wondering what else he could do. Uber, maybe. Or Lyft. He could drive nights, make some cash, keep looking for mechanic work during the day. But Uber wasn't going to pay for heart surgery. Nothing was going to pay for heart surgery. Nothing legal anyway. Marcus shook the thought away. He wasn't going there. He wasn't going to become someone his daughter couldn't look up to. He wasn't going to break a promise to Maria. He would figure this out. He had to. The phone rang. Marcus looked at the screen. Unknown number, local area code. He answered. "Hello. Mr. Thompson. Mr. Marcus Thompson." "Yes, this is Marcus." "My name is Jessica. I'm the personal assistant to Mrs. Victoria Chen. She would like to speak with you." Marcus almost hung up. The woman who humiliated him, the woman who threw money in his face, The woman who cost him his job. What could she possibly want? "Mr. Thompson, are you there?" "I'm here." "Mrs. Chen would like you to come to an address in Scottsdale tomorrow morning at 9. She has a business proposition for you." "A business proposition?" "That's correct. I'll text you the address. Will you be able to make it?" Marcus thought about saying no. He thought about telling this Jessica to deliver a message to her boss, a message involving 2 words, one of which was off. But then he thought about Lily. 22 days until surgery. No job, no options. He swallowed his pride. "I'll be there." Marcus hung up and sat in the silence of his empty kitchen. His hands were trembling. He looked at the $20 bill still sitting on the coffee table. "For your trouble." Whatever Victoria Chen wanted Marcus was certain of one thing. He wasn't going to grovel. He wasn't going to apologize. And if she thought she could humiliate him again, she had another thing coming. He had lost everything. He had nothing left to lose. Marcus took 2 buses to Scottsdale. He could have asked Denise for a ride. He could have borrowed her car. But he didn't want to explain where he was going or why. He didn't want to see the worry in her eyes or hear the questions she would inevitably ask. So he woke up at 6, put on his cleanest jeans and a button-down shirt that Maria had bought him years ago for a job interview he never got, and walked to the bus stop 3 blocks from his house. The first bus took him downtown. The second bus took him north into a different world. Scottsdale was everything Marcus's neighborhood wasn't. The streets were wide and clean. The lawns were green despite the desert heat fed by sprinklers that probably cost more to run in a month than Marcus paid in rent. The cars parked in driveways were Mercedes and BMWs and Teslas, not the beat-up trucks and 10-year-old sedans that lined the curbs where Marcus lived. He got off the bus at the address Jessica had texted him and stood on the sidewalk staring. It wasn't a house. It wasn't an office building. It was an automotive facility, brand new, glass and steel and gleaming white concrete. The kind of place Marcus had only seen in magazines, the kind of shop where they worked on Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and cars that cost more than most people's houses. But that wasn't what made Marcus's legs go weak. It was the sign. Mounted above the entrance, in brushed silver letters 3 feet tall, were 2 words. Thompson. Automotive. His name. His father's name. Marcus didn't move. He couldn't. He stood there on that pristine Scottsdale sidewalk, his heart pounding in his chest, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. This had to be a mistake, a coincidence. There had to be another Thompson in the automotive business. Someone with money. Someone who could afford a place like this. But even as he told himself that he knew it wasn't true, this was for him. He didn't know how. He didn't know why. But this was for him. The glass doors slid open, and a young woman in a gray suit stepped out. "Mr. Thompson, I'm Jessica. We spoke on the phone." Marcus found his voice. "What is this place?" "Mrs. Chen will explain everything. Please come inside." Marcus followed her through the doors. The interior was even more impressive than the exterior. Polished concrete floors, state-of-the-art hydraulic lifts painted cherry red, tool stations with digital displays and LED lighting, climate control that made the Arizona heat feel like a distant memory. And it was empty. Not a single car, not a single mechanic, just acres of pristine, unused space waiting to be filled. Jessica led him to an office at the back of the building. Floor-to-ceiling windows looked out over the empty shop floor. A mahogany desk sat in the center of the room, and behind it in a leather chair sat Victoria Chen. But she didn't look like the woman Marcus remembered. The designer suit was gone. The sharp, cruel expression was gone. In their place was a cream-colored blouse, simple gold jewelry, and a face that seemed somehow softer, warmer, more human. She stood when he entered. "Mr. Thompson, thank you for coming." Marcus didn't sit. He didn't move. "What is this?" he asked. Victoria gestured to the chair across from her desk. "Please, sit down. I owe you an explanation." "You owe me more than that." "You're right. I do." She sat back down. "Please." Marcus hesitated, then lowered himself into the chair. He kept his back straight, his hands on his knees. He wasn't going to relax. He wasn't going to let his guard down. Not with this woman. "Mr. Thompson," Victoria began, "I want to start by apologizing for how I treated you. What I said to you at the dealership was cruel and unfair. I threw money at your feet. I insulted your character. I contributed to you losing your job." "You didn't contribute," Marcus said. "You caused it." "Yes, I did. And I'm sorry." Marcus waited. An apology was nice, but it didn't pay for surgery. It didn't put food on the table. "Why am I here, Mrs. Chen?" Victoria folded her hands on the desk. "Do you know who I really am, Mr. Thompson? You're a CEO, Chen Logistics, West Coast Supply Chain." "That's what the world thinks. It's a useful cover." She paused. "My real name is Eleanor Victoria Chen. My husband was David Chen. He founded Chen Logistics 43 years ago, built it from a single truck into one of the largest shipping companies in the Southwest. When he died 15 years ago, I sold the company to a private equity firm for $200 million. Marcus blinked. $200 million? "I kept the name for business purposes, but I haven't run a company in over a decade. What I do now is different." "What do you do now?" Eleanor leaned forward slightly. "I invest in people." Marcus said nothing. "Mr. Thompson, do you know what the hardest thing in the world is? It's not making money. Anyone with enough luck and enough ruthlessness can make money. The hardest thing is finding people with integrity. Real integrity. The kind that doesn't bend when no one is watching. The kind that doesn't break when it costs you everything." "I don't understand what this has to do with me." 3 years ago, I started a project. I wanted to find people like that. People with genuine character, genuine kindness, genuine strength. But I learned quickly that you can't find those people by reading resumes or conducting interviews. People lie, they perform, they tell you what you want to hear. She stood and walked to the window looking out at the empty shop floor. So I decided to test them. I bought an old car, a 1969 Cadillac that belonged to my late husband. I dressed in worn clothes. I drove into auto shops across the Southwest, acting like a confused old woman who didn't understand cars and couldn't afford much. And I watched what people did. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. In 3 years, I've tested over 40 mechanics at shops across Arizona, Nevada, and California. Do you know how many passed? How many? Eleanor turned to face him. 1. Marcus's mouth went dry. "You, Mr. Thompson, you're the only one." I didn't take a test. I just fixed a car." "Exactly. You didn't know you were being tested. That's the whole point." Eleanor walked back to her desk, but didn't sit. "Everyone else either ignored me, overcharged me, or tried to sell me repairs I didn't need. 3 different mechanics told me I needed a new transmission when there was nothing wrong with it. One tried to charge me $800 for a $50 repair, and when I questioned them, they talked down to me like I was stupid. And me. You told me the truth. You found that someone had sabotaged my car. You used your own parts you had saved from a previous job, parts that came out of your own pocket. You fixed my brakes because you were genuinely worried someone was trying to hurt me. And when I asked how much I owed you, you said nothing." Eleanor sat down again, her eyes never leaving Marcus's face. "And then I tested you harder. I insulted you. I threw money at your feet. I humiliated you in front of your coworkers. And do you know what you did? You picked up that $20 bill with dignity. You didn't yell. You didn't curse me out. You didn't quit. You maintained your composure, even when I gave you every reason to lose it." Marcus thought about that moment. The anger he had felt, the shame, the urge to scream at her to tell her exactly what he thought of her and people like her. He had swallowed all of it. "I wasn't being noble," he said quietly. "I was being practical. I needed that job. Maybe. But that doesn't change what you did or who you are." Eleanor gestured at the building around them. This is yours, Mr. Thompson. Marcus shook his head. I don't understand. This facility, this building, all of it, it's yours. That's not possible. I bought this property 6 months ago. I've been waiting for the right person to give it to. I had it built to the highest specifications. The equipment is top of the line. The lifts, the diagnostic tools, the air filtration system. Everything is brand new, state-of-the-art. You can't just give someone a building. I can do whatever I want with my money, Mr. Thompson, and what I want is to give it to you. Marcus stood up so fast his chair scraped against the floor. This is insane. I don't know you. You don't know me. You can't just walk into someone's life and hand them $1 million building because they didn't rip you off on a car repair. Actually, the building and equipment cost closer to $3 million. And you're right, I don't know you. But I know enough. Eleanor opened a folder on her desk. Marcus Samuel Thompson, born in Chicago, Illinois. Father was Samuel Thompson. Independent mechanic, died of a heart attack 8 years ago. Mother was Patricia Thompson, schoolteacher, passed away 12 years ago from breast cancer. You moved to Phoenix 6 years ago with your wife Maria, who was diagnosed with ovarian cancer 4 years ago and died 2 years ago after 18 months of treatment. Marcus felt like he had been punched in the gut. How do you know all this? I do my research, Mr. Thompson. I don't invest in people blindly. She continued reading. You have a daughter, Lily, age 12. She was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect at age 7 and has been managing it with medication. However, her condition has deteriorated over the past year, and she now requires surgery, specifically a valve replacement procedure that costs approximately $45,000. Your insurance has denied coverage 3 times. The surgery is scheduled in 21 days, and as of yesterday, you have $847 in your bank account. Marcus's hands were shaking. You had no right to dig into my life like that. You're correct. I didn't have the right, but I did it anyway because I needed to be sure. Eleanor closed the folder. I've been watching you for 3 weeks, Mr. Thompson. I know you work double shifts whenever you can get them. I know you haven't bought new clothes for yourself in over 2 years. I know you skip meals so your daughter can eat. I know you turned down an offer to work for a chop shop that would have paid you 3 times what Crawford was paying because you wouldn't compromise your integrity. How do you know about that? I know a lot of things. The point is, I know who you are, and I know you deserve better than what life has given you. Marcus sat back down. His legs felt weak. This doesn't make sense, he said. People don't do things like this. Most people don't, but I'm not most people. Eleanor leaned forward. My son died when he was 34 years old. Drunk driver. He was a good man, kind, honest, always helping others, even when it cost him. He reminded me of you. After he died, I spent 2 years trying to figure out what to do with all this money. I could give it to charity. I could endow a hospital wing. I could put my name on a building somewhere. But none of that felt right. It felt like writing checks to make myself feel better. She paused. So I decided to do something different. I decided to find people like my son, people with good hearts who never got a fair chance, and I decided to change their lives directly, not through foundations or committees or grant applications, directly, person to person. And you think I'm one of those people? I know you are. Marcus sat in silence for a long moment. He thought about Maria, about the way she used to believe in him, even when he didn't believe in himself. About the nights she held him when he came home exhausted and defeated, whispering that everything would be okay, that he was a good man, that good things came to good people eventually. He thought about his father, about the lessons Samuel had taught him, the values he had instilled, about the way Samuel had treated every customer like family, even the ones who couldn't pay. He thought about Lily, about her surgery, about the fear in her eyes when she thought he wasn't looking the way she pretended to be brave because she didn't want to worry him. There has to be a catch, Marcus said. There's always a catch. No catch. The building is in your name. The equipment is paid for. There's working capital in a business account enough to cover operating costs for at least 2 years while you build up your client base. There's also a personal account for your family, which I'll get to in a moment. Why would you do all this for a stranger? Eleanor's expression softened. Because kindness should be rewarded, Mr. Thompson. Because integrity should be valued. Because too many good people spend their whole lives struggling while selfish, cruel people thrive. I can't fix the whole world, but I can fix one life at a time, and today I'm fixing yours. Marcus felt something break inside him, a wall he had built to protect himself, to keep functioning when everything was falling apart. He felt it crack and crumble. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. Just accept it. Use it. Build something good. Marcus looked down at his hands. The calluses, the scars, the grease permanently embedded in the lines of his palms. My daughter, he said. Her surgery. Already taken care of. Marcus looked up sharply. What? I contacted Phoenix Children's Hospital yesterday. Lily's surgery has been moved up to next week. The best pediatric cardiac surgeon in the state will perform the procedure. All costs are covered, including follow-up care, rehabilitation, and any future treatments she might need. Marcus couldn't breathe. You paid for my daughter's surgery. I told you, Mr. Thompson. When I invest in people, I invest in all of them. Not just the person, but their family. Your daughter will have the best care money can buy, and after she recovers, she'll have opportunities. I'll make sure of it. Marcus felt tears burning in his eyes. He blinked hard, trying to hold them back. I can't accept this, he whispered. You can, and you will, because your daughter needs you, and because you've earned it. I haven't earned anything. I just fixed a car. No. Eleanor stood up and walked around the desk. She stopped in front of Marcus and looked down at him with an expression he didn't recognize, something like pride or maybe grief. You protected a stranger who treated you like garbage. You sacrificed your own resources for someone who didn't deserve it. You chose kindness when cruelty would have been justified. That's not just fixing a car, Mr. Thompson. That's being a hero. Marcus wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. I'm not a hero. I'm just a mechanic. You can be both. Eleanor extended her hand. Do we have a deal, Mr. Thompson? Marcus looked at her hand. Then he looked at the building around them, the lifts, the tools, the empty floor waiting to be filled with cars and customers and employees. He thought about everything he had lost, and then he thought about everything he might gain. He reached out and shook her hand. We have a deal. Eleanor smiled. It was the first genuine smile Marcus had seen from her. Good. Now there's one more thing I want to show you. She led him out of the office and down a hallway to a smaller room. Inside was a conference table, a whiteboard, and a stack of folders. I've taken the liberty of identifying some potential employees for you, Eleanor said. People who need a second chance just like you did. Ex-convicts who've served their time and want to rebuild their lives. Women who've been told they don't belong in automotive work. Young people from difficult backgrounds who have talent but no opportunity. Marcus picked up one of the folders. Inside was a profile of a 19-year-old named Deshaun Williams. 3 years ago, Deshaun had been arrested for car theft and spent 18 months in juvenile detention. Since his release, he had applied to 47 jobs and been rejected from all of them. This kid has a record, Marcus said. He does. He also has a natural aptitude for mechanics that rivals yours. He just needs someone to give him a chance. Marcus set the folder down and picked up another. Teresa Morales, age 42, single mother of 3. She had worked as a mechanic's assistant for 6 years before being laid off when her shop closed. Since then, no one would hire her for technical work, only front desk positions. She knows her way around an engine, Marcus said, better than most men according to her references. But shops keep putting her behind a counter because they don't think a woman belongs under a hood. Marcus looked at the stack of folders. There had to be at least 20 of them. You want me to hire these people? I want you to consider them. The final decision is yours. This is your business, Mr. Thompson. I'm just providing options. Marcus nodded slowly. My father used to say that everyone deserves a fair shot. He hired ex-cons. He hired kids that other shops wouldn't touch. He said the measure of a man isn't where he's been, it's where he's trying to go. Your father sounds like a wise man. He was. He was the best man I ever knew. Eleanor put a hand on Marcus's shoulder. I think you might be a lot like him. Marcus didn't know what to say, so he just stood there holding the folders, thinking about his father and his daughter and his wife and the strange, impossible turn his life had just taken. There's one more thing, Eleanor said. More. I had something delivered to your house this morning, a gift for Lily. What kind of gift? You'll see when you get home. Consider it a get-well present in advance. She smiled again. Now go home, Mr. Thompson. Go see your daughter. Tell her the good news about her surgery, and then take some time to process all of this. We can discuss the details of the business next week. Marcus walked toward the door, then stopped. Mrs. Chen. Yes. The $20 bill. The one you threw at me. What about it? I still have it. I kept it. I don't know why. Eleanor's smile faded into something more serious. Keep it, Mr. Thompson. Frame it. Hang it in your office. Let it remind you of where you were and how far you've come. Let it remind you that the worst moments of our lives are sometimes the doorways to the best. Marcus nodded. Thank you, he said, for everything. Don't thank me yet. The hard work is just beginning. Marcus walked out of the building into the Arizona sun. He stood on the sidewalk for a long time, looking up at the sign that bore his name. Then he pulled out his phone and called his sister. Denise, it's Marcus. I need you to bring Lily home. I have something to tell her. Is everything okay? You sound weird. Marcus laughed. It was the first time he had laughed in weeks. Everything is more than okay. Everything is about to change. He hung up and started walking toward the bus stop. Halfway there, he stopped. He looked back at the building one more time. Thompson Automotive. His name, his legacy, his future. Marcus Thompson took a deep breath, squared his shoulders, and kept walking. Lily was sitting on the porch when Marcus got home. She had her sketchbook open on her lap, colored pencils scattered around her, working on something with the intense concentration that reminded Marcus so much of Maria. When she heard his footsteps, she looked up and smiled that smile that could break his heart and heal it at the same time. Daddy, you're home early. Marcus climbed the porch steps and sat down next to her. He looked at what she was drawing. It was a house bigger than theirs, with a garden full of flowers and a bright yellow sun overhead. Two figures stood in front of it, a tall man and a small girl holding hands. That's beautiful, baby. It's our dream house, the one we're gonna live in someday. She looked at him with those big brown eyes. Aunt Denise said you sounded weird on the phone. Is everything okay? Marcus put his arm around her and pulled her close. Everything is more than okay, Lily. I have some news. Good news or bad news? The best news. The kind of news that changes everything. Lily set down her pencil and turned to face him fully. What kind of news? Marcus took a deep breath. He had rehearsed this on the bus ride home, but now that the moment was here, the words felt too big for his mouth. You know how we've been worried about your surgery? About the money? Lily's face tightened. She was 12, but she understood more than Marcus wished she did. She had heard the phone calls from collectors. She had seen the bills piled on the kitchen counter. She knew they were struggling, even though Marcus tried to shield her from the worst of it. Yeah, she said quietly. We don't have to worry anymore. Someone is paying for everything. The surgery, the hospital, the recovery, all of it. And they moved it up. You're having the operation next week with the best doctor in the whole state. Lily stared at him. What? Who? How? It's a long story, baby, but there's more. Marcus squeezed her shoulder. I have a new job. Actually, I have a new business. Someone gave me a building, a whole automotive shop, brand new with my name on it. Our name. Thompson Automotive. Daddy, you're not making sense. I know. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. All of it. Our lives are about to change, Lily. Everything we've been praying for, everything we've been hoping for, it's happening. Lily's eyes filled with tears. She threw her arms around Marcus's neck and buried her face in his shoulder. I was so scared, Daddy. I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to worry more. But I was so scared. Marcus held her tight, feeling her small body shake with sobs. I know, baby. I know. But you don't have to be scared anymore. I've got you. I've always got you. They sat there on the porch, holding each other, as the Arizona sun began its slow descent toward the horizon. After a while, Lily pulled back and wiped her eyes. Daddy. Yeah. Can I see it? The building with our name on it? Marcus smiled. Soon, I promise. But first we need to get you better. That's the most important thing. Lily nodded. Then she frowned slightly. Daddy, you said someone gave you all this. Who? Why would a stranger do that? Marcus thought about Eleanor, about the test he hadn't known he was taking, about the cruel words and the $20 bill and the impossibility of grace appearing when he least expected it. Because I did something kind for her when I had every reason not to, and she decided to do something kind back. That's it. That's it. Lily considered this for a moment. Mom always said that kindness was like seeds. You plant them and sometimes they grow into something big. Marcus felt his throat tighten. Your mom was right. She was always right. He kissed the top of Lily's head. Come on, let's go inside. I think there's supposed to be a surprise waiting for you. They found it in the living room. A brand new laptop sat on the coffee table, still in its box, with a card attached. Lily opened the card and read it aloud. For Lily, dream big, EVC. Lily looked at Marcus with wide eyes. EVC. That's the person who helped us. Eleanor Victoria Chen, the woman I told you about. She bought me a laptop. She wants you to have opportunities, baby. Good opportunities. The kind you deserve. Lily ran her fingers over the box like it was made of gold. Can I open it? It's yours. You can do whatever you want with it. Lily tore into the packaging with the enthusiasm only a 12-year-old could muster. Within minutes, she had the laptop set up on the kitchen table, exploring its features with unbridled joy. Marcus watched her from the doorway. For the first time in 2 years, he felt something he had almost forgotten existed. Hope. The week before Lily's surgery was the longest of Marcus's life. He spent his days at the new building, walking the empty floor, touching the equipment, trying to convince himself it was real. Jessica had given him keys and access codes, and a folder full of paperwork, business licenses, insurance documents, bank account information. Everything was in order. Everything was waiting for him to begin. But Marcus couldn't begin. Not yet. Not until he knew Lily was okay. He hired a lawyer to review the contracts. He called 3 different accountants to verify the finances. He even hired a private investigator to look into Eleanor Chen, half expecting to find out the whole thing was an elaborate scam. The investigator came back with a simple report. Eleanor Victoria Chen was exactly who she said she was. A widow worth over $200 million. A philanthropist who had given away tens of millions to various causes over the past decade. A woman known for her eccentricity and her insistence on personal direct charity. She's the real deal, Mr. Thompson, the investigator told him. Whatever her reasons, she's not trying to con you. You hit the lottery. Marcus thanked him and paid his fee. Then he went home and sat with Lily, watching her favorite movies, playing card games, talking about everything and nothing. The night before the surgery, Lily couldn't sleep. Marcus found her sitting up in bed at midnight, clutching a photo of Maria. Hey baby, what are you doing awake? I was talking to Mom. Marcus sat on the edge of her bed. What were you telling her? That I'm scared. That I wish she was here. What did she say? Lily smiled a little. She said I'm brave. She said you're brave too. She said everything's going to be okay because we have each other. Marcus felt tears pricking at his eyes. Your mom is right. She's always right. Daddy. Yeah. If something happens to me tomorrow, nothing is going to happen to you. But if it does, Lily, look at me. She looked at him with Maria's eyes, and Marcus felt his heart crack open. Nothing is going to happen to you. You're going to have this surgery. You're going to wake up. You're going to recover. And then you're going to live the most amazing life anyone has ever lived. Do you understand me? Lily nodded slowly. I understand. Good. Now lie down. You need rest. She lay back on her pillow, still clutching the photo. Daddy, will you stay with me until I fall asleep? I'll stay with you forever, baby, as long as you need me. Marcus held her hand until her breathing slowed and her grip relaxed. Then he stayed another hour watching her sleep, praying to a God he wasn't sure he believed in anymore. Please, please let her be okay. Take anything from me. Take everything. Just let my little girl be okay. The surgery took 7 hours. Marcus spent all of them in the waiting room, pacing, drinking bad coffee, checking his phone every 30 seconds, even though there was nothing to check. Denise sat with him for the first few hours, but she had to leave to pick up her kids from school. She promised to come back as soon as she could. At hour 4, Marcus called Eleanor. He didn't know why. They had only met twice, but she answered on the first ring. Mr. Thompson, how is she? Still in surgery. They said it would be long. He stopped, not sure what he wanted to say. You needed to talk to someone. Yeah, I guess I did. That's understandable. What you're going through is terrifying. No parent should have to endure it. Did you go through this? With your son? There was a long pause. No. My son's death was sudden. A drunk driver ran a red light. Daniel was gone before the ambulance arrived. Her voice was steady, but Marcus could hear the pain underneath. I never got to say goodbye. I never got to tell him I loved him one more time. You have the chance to be there for Lily, Mr. Thompson. To hold her hand when she wakes up. That's a gift. A terrible, precious gift. Marcus wiped his eyes. I'm sorry. About Daniel. Thank you. He was a good man. The best man I've ever known aside from his father. She paused again. That's why I do what I do, Mr. Thompson. That's why I look for people like you. Because Daniel would have wanted me to. Because every person I help feels like honoring his memory. I don't know how to thank you for what you've done. You don't have to thank me. Just take care of your daughter, build your business, live a good life. That's all the thanks I need. At hour 6, a nurse came to the waiting room. Mr. Thompson, the surgery is almost complete. Dr. Patel will be out to speak with you shortly. Is she okay? Is Lily okay? The doctor will explain everything. The nurse left, and Marcus resumed pacing with renewed intensity. 20 minutes later, Dr. Patel appeared. He was a small man with kind eyes and steady hands, the hands that had just spent 7 hours inside Marcus's daughter's chest. Mr. Thompson. Yes. How is she? Is she okay? Dr. Patel smiled. The surgery was a complete success. The valve replacement went perfectly. Lily is in recovery now. She's going to be fine. Marcus's legs gave out. He grabbed the back of a chair to keep from falling, his whole body shaking with relief. She's okay. She's really okay. She's going to need several weeks of recovery and rehabilitation, but yes, she's going to be fine. She's a strong girl, Mr. Thompson. A fighter. Can I see her? She's still under anesthesia, but you can sit with her in the recovery room. She should wake up within the hour. Marcus followed Dr. Patel through the hospital corridors, his heart pounding with a different kind of fear. Now, the fear of hope. The fear of believing that something good might actually last. Lily lay in a hospital bed, small and pale tubes and wires connected to machines that beeped and hummed. But she was breathing. Her chest was rising and falling in a steady rhythm. Marcus pulled a chair to her bedside and took her hand. I'm here, baby. Daddy's here. You did so good. You were so brave. Mom would be so proud of you." He sat there for 45 minutes holding her hand, watching her face, waiting. When Lily opened her eyes, the first thing she saw was her father's face. "Daddy, I'm here, baby. I'm right here." "Did it work?" "It worked. You're going to be okay. You're going to be more than okay." Lily smiled weakly. "I dreamed about Mom. She said she was proud of me." Marcus squeezed her hand. "She is, baby. She's so proud of you. And so am I." Lily's eyes fluttered closed again. "Daddy, I love you." "I love you too, baby. More than anything in the world." He sat with her until she fell asleep again, and then he sat with her some more. 2 weeks later, Lily came home from the hospital. She was still weak, still recovering, but she was alive and getting stronger every day. The doctors said she would be back to normal within 2 months. Better than normal, actually. With the new valve, her heart would work better than it ever had. Marcus threw a small welcome home party. Just Denise and her kids, a few neighbors, a homemade cake with "Welcome Home Lily" written in frosting. Lily sat in the recliner like a queen on her throne, accepting hugs and presents and well wishes with a grace that made Marcus's heart swell. After the guests left, Marcus sat down next to her. "How do you feel, baby?" "Tired, but happy." She looked at him. "Daddy, when are you going to open the shop?" "Soon. I wanted to make sure you were okay first." "I'm okay. And I want to see it. I want to see our name on the building." Marcus smiled. "Okay, this weekend. I'll take you there. But you have to promise to take it easy, no running around." "I promise." That weekend, Marcus drove Lily to Scottsdale. When they pulled up to the building, Lily's jaw dropped. "Daddy, it's huge." "I know. Thompson Automotive. That's really our name." "That's really our name." They went inside together, Lily moving slowly but steadily, taking in the gleaming floors and the state-of-the-art equipment and the empty bays waiting to be filled. "It's like a spaceship," she said. "It kind of is." "And you're going to run this whole place?" "I'm going to try." Lily walked to the center of the shop floor and turned in a slow circle. "Mom would have loved this." Marcus felt his throat tighten. "Yeah, she would have." Lily walked back to him and took his hand. "You're going to be amazing, Daddy. I know it." "How do you know?" "Because you're the best person I've ever known. And because Mom told me. In my dream. She said you were going to do great things." Marcus knelt down so he was eye level with his daughter. "I'm going to try, baby. I'm going to try every single day to make you proud. To make your mom proud." "You already do, Daddy. You always have." Marcus hugged her gently, mindful of her still healing chest. "I love you, Lily." "I love you too, Daddy." The grand opening of Thompson Automotive was 3 weeks later. Marcus had spent every day since Lily's hospital visit preparing. He hired 5 employees from the folders Eleanor had given him: Deshaun Williams, the 19-year-old ex-convict with natural talent; Teresa Morales, the single mother who knew engines better than most men; Robert Kim, a Korean War veteran who had spent 30 years as a mechanic before being pushed out for being too old; 2 other young men from rough neighborhoods who needed someone to give them a chance. He trained them personally, teaching them not just technique, but philosophy. "We don't just fix cars here," he told them on their first day. "We fix trust. When someone brings their car to us, they're trusting us with their safety, their money, their peace of mind. We don't break that trust, ever. We're honest. We're fair. We do the job right the first time. That's how we build something that lasts." Deshaun raised his hand. "Mr. Thompson, what if a customer is rude to us? What if they treat us like dirt?" Marcus thought about Eleanor, about the $20 bill. "You treat them with respect anyway. You do your job well anyway. You don't let someone else's ugliness make you ugly. That's how you win. Not by fighting back, but by being better." The grand opening drew a crowd. Eleanor had arranged for local news coverage without telling Marcus. A reporter from Channel 5 showed up with a camera crew asking about the miracle mechanic who had been gifted a shop by a mysterious philanthropist. Marcus didn't want to do the interview. He didn't want attention or fame. But Eleanor convinced him. Your story can inspire people, Mr. Thompson. It can show them that kindness matters, that integrity pays off. The world needs to hear that message. So Marcus stood in front of the camera and told his story. He talked about his father and the lessons he learned in a two-bay shop in Chicago. He talked about Maria and her fight with cancer and her unwavering belief in him. He talked about Lily and her surgery and the fear of losing everything. And he talked about the day he fixed a stranger's car for free and got fired for it. I thought that was the worst day of my life, he told the reporter. I thought I had lost everything. But it turns out I had to lose everything to find something better. Sometimes the universe has to tear you down before it can build you back up. The interview aired that night. By the next morning, Thompson Automotive had a waiting list of customers 3 weeks long. 6 months passed. Thompson Automotive wasn't just surviving, it was thriving. Word of mouth spread faster than any advertising could have. People came from all over Phoenix then, from all over Arizona, then from neighboring states. They came because of the quality of the work. They came because of the honest prices. But mostly they came because of the story. The shop that was built on kindness. Marcus reinvested everything back into the business. He hired more employees. He expanded the training program. He started a scholarship fund for young people from disadvantaged backgrounds who wanted to learn automotive repair. Lily, fully recovered, now spent her weekends at the shop. She didn't work on cars, not yet, but she helped at the front desk, greeting customers, answering phones, learning the business from the ground up. Someday this will be yours, Marcus told her. Someday you'll run this place. I know, Daddy. That's why I'm paying attention. Eleanor visited once a month. She never interfered with the business, never tried to tell Marcus how to run things. She just came to see how he was doing, to share a cup of coffee, to talk about life. During one of these visits, she told Marcus something that stuck with him. You know what the difference is between you and all those other mechanics I tested? What? They saw me as a transaction, a customer to extract money from. You saw me as a person, a human being who needed help, she smiled. That's rarer than you think, Mr. Thompson. Most people look at others and see what they can get. You look at others and see what you can give. That's why you're going to succeed. Not because of this building or this equipment, because of who you are. Marcus thought about those words often. He thought about them when difficult customers tested his patience. He thought about them when employees made mistakes and needed guidance instead of punishment. He thought about them when he was tired and frustrated and wondering if it was all worth it. And every time he came back to the same conclusion. Yes, it was worth it. Every single moment. One Saturday morning, a familiar car pulled into the customer lot. Marcus was in the office reviewing invoices when Teresa knocked on the door. Boss, there's someone here to see you. Says his name is Crawford. Marcus set down his pen. Gerald Crawford, the man who had fired him. The man who had called him a fool for helping a stranger. Send him in. Crawford walked into the office looking like a different person. He had lost weight. His face was drawn and pale. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his tie askew. He looked like a man who had been through a war. Thompson, he said. Crawford. They stood in silence for a moment. I came to... Crawford stopped. He looked around the office at the awards on the wall, the photos of the team, the portrait of Marcus's father. I came to apologize. Apologize? I was wrong, that day, about everything. I was wrong to fire you. I was wrong to care more about a contract than about doing the right thing. I was wrong to treat you like you didn't matter. Marcus gestured to the chair across from his desk. Sit down. Crawford sat. His hands were shaking. My business is gone, he said. I had to declare bankruptcy 3 months ago. After the news story ran about you and this place, people started asking questions. They looked into my shop. They found out about the overcharging, the unnecessary repairs, the way I treated employees. Nobody wanted to do business with me anymore. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Marcus thought about the question. Yes, I am. I don't wish failure on anyone, Crawford, not even you. Crawford's eyes filled with tears. I came here to ask for a job. I know that's crazy. I know you have every reason to slam the door in my face. But I'm desperate, Thompson. I've got nothing left. My wife left me. My kids won't talk to me. I'm living in a motel off the interstate. Marcus looked at the man who had humiliated him, the man who had thrown him out like garbage, the man who had almost destroyed his life. He thought about revenge, how easy it would be, how satisfying. And then he thought about his father. Son, revenge is a poison you drink hoping the other person dies. It doesn't work that way. You just end up poisoning yourself. I can't give you a job, Marcus said. Crawford nodded, defeated. I understand. But I can give you a referral. There's a shop across town that's looking for experienced people. They believe in second chances. I'll make a call, put in a good word. Crawford looked up, disbelief on his face. Why would you do that, after everything I did to you? Because holding on to anger won't help either of us. Because everyone deserves a chance to be better. And because my father taught me that the measure of a man isn't what he does when he's winning. It's what he does when he's been hurt. Crawford wiped his eyes. Thank you, Thompson. I don't deserve this. Maybe not. But that's the point of grace, isn't it? We don't get it because we deserve it. We get it because someone chooses to give it. Crawford stood and extended his hand. Marcus shook it. I hope you find what you're looking for, Crawford. I really do. Crawford left without another word. Marcus sat alone in his office for a long time, thinking about forgiveness and anger and the strange paths that bring us to where we're supposed to be. Then he went back to work. There were cars to fix and customers to serve and employees to mentor. There was a business to run. There was a life to live. And Marcus Thompson intended to live it well. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon, 2 years after Thompson Automotive opened its doors. Marcus was underneath a classic 1970 Chevelle, checking the suspension, when his phone buzzed. He slid out from under the car, wiped his hands, and looked at the screen. Jessica. His stomach tightened. Jessica only called when Eleanor needed something, and Eleanor rarely needed anything. Hello. Mr. Thompson. I'm calling about Mrs. Chen. Is everything okay? There was a pause. The kind of pause that said everything before words could. She's in the hospital. Phoenix Memorial. She asked to see you. Marcus was in his truck and driving before Jessica finished explaining. Eleanor had collapsed that morning. She had been feeling weak for months but refused to see a doctor. By the time Jessica found her unconscious in the study, her blood pressure had dropped to dangerous levels. The doctors ran tests. The results came back within hours. Pancreatic cancer, stage 4, inoperable. They gave her weeks, maybe less. Marcus broke every speed limit between Scottsdale and the hospital. He didn't care. He didn't think about tickets or consequences or anything, except getting to Eleanor before it was too late. He found her room on the 4th floor. Jessica was waiting outside. She's awake, Jessica said. She's been asking for you. How bad is it? Bad. The doctors say she doesn't have much time. Marcus pushed open the door. Eleanor lay in the hospital bed, smaller than he remembered, fragile, in a way he had never seen before. The powerful woman who had changed his life looked like a leaf about to fall from a tree. But when she saw him, she smiled. Mr. Thompson, you came. Marcus pulled a chair to her bedside and sat down. Of course I came. Why didn't you tell me you were sick? Because there was nothing to tell. I felt fine until I didn't. She reached for his hand and he took it. Her fingers were cold. Besides, I've had a good life, a full life. I'm not afraid of what comes next. Don't talk like that. Like what? Like I'm dying." She laughed softly. "I am dying, Mr. Thompson. We both know it. The question is not whether I die, but how I spend the time I have left." Marcus felt tears burning in his eyes. There has to be something they can do. Treatments, specialists. I can pay for anything. No. Eleanor squeezed his hand with surprising strength. "I've made my peace. I've lived 72 years. I've loved and lost and loved again. I've built things and destroyed things and rebuilt them. And in the last 3 years, thanks to people like you, I've found a purpose that makes all of it worthwhile. People like me. Yes, you and the others I've helped. Do you know how many there are now? 17. 17 people I've tested and invested in. 17 lives I've changed. That's my legacy, Mr. Thompson. Not the money. Not the company my husband built. You. All of you." Marcus wiped his eyes with the back of his free hand. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything. Just promise me one thing." "Anything." Eleanor looked at him with those dark eyes that had seen so much. "Promise me you'll keep going. Promise me you'll keep helping people the way you helped me. Promise me that when you have the chance to choose between profit and kindness, you'll choose kindness every time. I promise. And promise me you'll take care of Lily. That girl has something special. I've seen it. She's going to change the world someday if someone gives her the chance. I'll give her every chance, I swear." Eleanor smiled and closed her eyes. "Good. That's good." She slept then, her breathing shallow but steady. Marcus sat with her for 3 hours, holding her hand, watching the monitors, praying. When he finally left, he drove home in silence, his mind full of thoughts he couldn't untangle. Eleanor held on for 11 more days. Marcus visited every day, sometimes twice. He brought Lily on the 3rd day, and the two of them sat with Eleanor for an hour, talking about everything and nothing. Eleanor told Lily stories about her son Daniel, about her husband David, about the adventures she had lived in 72 years. "You remind me of myself when I was young," Eleanor told Lily. "Full of fire, full of questions. Don't ever lose that child. The world will try to beat it out of you. Don't let it." "I won't," Lily promised. On the 8th day, Eleanor asked to see all of them. The 17 people she had helped. Marcus made the calls, and by evening the hospital room was crowded with strangers who had one thing in common. Eleanor Chen had believed in them when no one else would. There was Marcus and his daughter Lily. There was Sarah, a single mother from Nevada who now ran a successful bakery. There was Thomas, a former homeless veteran who managed a non-profit providing housing for other veterans. There was Esperanza, an undocumented immigrant who had been given a path to citizenship and now worked as a paralegal, helping others navigate the system. There were 14 others, each with their own story, each with their own miracle. Eleanor looked at all of them gathered around her bed. "Look at this," she whispered. "Look at what kindness can do." She asked each of them to share one thing they had learned, one thing they would carry forward. Thomas spoke first. "I learned that everybody deserves a second chance, even people who've made mistakes, especially people who've made mistakes." Esperanza went next. "I learned that borders don't define who we are. Kindness does." Sarah said, "I learned that asking for help isn't weakness, it's courage." When it was Marcus's turn, he had to clear his throat twice before he could speak. "I learned that the worst day of your life can be the beginning of the best part. I learned that when someone throws money in your face and calls you pathetic, you pick it up with dignity and keep going. And I learned that one person with a good heart can change everything. Mrs. Chen, you changed my life. You saved my daughter. I will spend the rest of my days trying to live up to what you believed I could be." Eleanor smiled. "That's all I ever wanted. That's all any of us can do. Plant seeds. Water them. Hope they grow." She asked them all to join hands. "Promise me," she said. "Promise me you'll help someone else the way I helped you, not because they deserve it, not because they can pay you back, Because kindness is the only thing that makes this world bearable. Promise me." 17 voices answered as one. "We promise." Eleanor closed her eyes. "Good. That's good." She died 3 days later peacefully in her sleep. Jessica called Marcus at 4 in the morning. "She's gone." Marcus sat on the edge of his bed and the dark phone pressed to his ear and cried like a child. The funeral was larger than anyone expected. Over 300 people came to pay their respects. Business associates from her husband's company, charity workers she had funded, politicians who had received her support, and in the front row, 17 people who owed her everything. Marcus spoke at the service. He stood at the podium looking out at the crowd searching for the right words. "I only knew Eleanor Chen for a little over 2 years," he began. "But in that time she changed my life completely. When I met her I was broken. I had just been fired from my job for doing something kind. I thought kindness was weakness. I thought the world punished good people and rewarded cruel ones." He paused, steadying himself. "Eleanor showed me I was wrong. She proved that kindness isn't weakness, it's strength. The strength to do the right thing when it costs you. The strength to believe in people when everyone else has given up on them. The strength to plant seeds you might never see grow." He looked at Lily sitting in the front row. "My daughter is alive because of Eleanor Chen. My business exists because of her. My future, my hope, all of it traces back to a day when I chose to help a stranger, and that stranger chose to help me back." Marcus wiped his eyes. "I can't repay what she gave me. None of us can. But I can honor it. I can keep my promise. I can spend the rest of my life helping people the way she helped me. That's her legacy. Not the money, not the buildings, us. The lives she changed, the seeds she planted." He stepped down from the podium. The crowd stood and applauded. Marcus barely heard them. He was thinking about a $20 bill in a frame on his office wall. After the funeral, Jessica approached Marcus. "Mr. Thompson, there's something I need to give you." She handed him a sealed envelope. "Mrs. Chen left instructions. This was to be delivered to you after the service." Marcus opened the envelope. Inside was a letter handwritten in Eleanor's elegant script. "Dear Mr. Thompson, if you're reading this, then I'm gone. Don't be sad. I've had a wonderful life, and the last chapter, the chapter with you in it, was the best of all. I want you to know something I never told you in person. That day at the dealership when I threw money at your feet and insulted you. I was testing you more than I've ever tested anyone. I was cruel. Deliberately, specifically cruel. I wanted to see what you would do when pushed to the absolute limit. And you passed. You didn't yell. You didn't curse. You didn't quit. You picked up that $20 with more dignity than most people carry in their entire lives. In that moment, I knew you were the one. I'm leaving you one final gift. It's not money, you have enough of that now, and you know how to make more. It's something better. A purpose. I'm asking you to take over my project, to become the person who tests and invests in others the way I tested and invested in you. I've left instructions with Jessica. There's a fund set up enough to change dozens of lives if you use it wisely. Find the good ones, Mr. Thompson, the kind ones. The ones who would fix a stranger's car for free, even when it costs them everything. Find them and give them what I gave you, a chance. That's how we change the world, one seed at a time, with love and faith. Eleanor Victoria Chen. P.S. Keep that $20 bill. It's the most valuable piece of paper you'll ever own. Marcus read the letter 3 times. Then he folded it carefully and put it in his pocket. The months that followed were the hardest of Marcus's life. Running the business was exhausting enough, but now he had a second mission, finding people worthy of Eleanor's legacy. He started small. He drove to different auto shops around Phoenix, just like Eleanor had done with a rented car that had manufactured problems. He dressed in old clothes. He asked for help. Most shops overcharged him. Some ignored him. A few tried to sell him repairs he didn't need. He understood now why Eleanor had tested so many people before finding him. Good hearts were rare. Genuine kindness was even rarer. But he kept looking. He found a woman named Patricia at a shop in Tempe. She spent 2 hours fixing his car and charged him only for parts. When he tried to tip her, she refused. "You look like you need it more than me," she said. He found a young man named James at a garage in Mesa. James noticed that the car's brakes had been tampered with, just like Marcus had noticed Eleanor's brakes, and warned him without being asked. "Someone's trying to hurt you, sir. You should call the police." He found others. Not many, but enough. For each one, Marcus followed Eleanor's playbook. He dug into their lives. He learned their struggles. And when he was certain, truly certain that they were the real thing, he revealed himself. "I'm not who you think I am. I'm here to offer you something that will change your life. But you have to be willing to accept it." Some thought he was crazy. Some thought he was running a scam. But a few, the ones who had that same fire Marcus had seen in himself, listened and believed. By the 3rd anniversary of Thompson Automotive, Marcus had helped 7 people, 7 new businesses, 7 transformed lives, 7 seeds planted. Patricia now ran her own shop in Tempe, specializing in cars for single mothers and veterans. James managed a mobile repair service that served elderly customers who couldn't leave their homes. The others had started restaurants, child care centers, cleaning services, landscaping companies, all built on the foundation Eleanor had taught Marcus to provide: integrity, opportunity, trust. Marcus kept a map in his office with pins marking each business. When he felt tired, when he wondered if it was all worth it, he looked at that map and remembered Eleanor's words. That's how we change the world, one seed at a time. Lily turned 15 that year. She had grown into a remarkable young woman. Smart, compassionate, driven. She spent her summers working at the shop, learning every aspect of the business. She took AP classes and dreamed of studying engineering. One evening after the shop had closed and the last employee had gone home, Lily found Marcus in his office staring at Eleanor's letter. "Dad, you okay?" Marcus looked up. "Yeah, just thinking." Lily sat down across from him. "About Mrs. Chen." "About everything. About how different things could have been. About how close I came to losing you." Lily reached across the desk and took his hand. "But you didn't. I'm right here." "I know, it's just... sometimes it still doesn't feel real. All of this, the shop, the business, the people we've helped. It feels like a dream I'm going to wake up from." "It's not a dream, Dad. It's real. You made it real." Marcus smiled. "Your mom would be so proud of you, Lily. You know that." "She'd be proud of you too, Dad. You're the best man I know." Marcus felt tears threatening again. "How did I get so lucky? How did I end up with a daughter like you?" "You got lucky, Dad. I'm the lucky one. I have a father who taught me that kindness matters, that integrity isn't old-fashioned, that helping people is more important than making money." Lily squeezed his hand. "Do you know how rare that is? Most of my friends' parents just tell them to get rich. You tell me to get good. There's a difference. A huge difference. And I'm going to spend my whole life trying to live up to it." Marcus stood and walked around the desk. He hugged his daughter, holding her tight. "I love you, Lily. I love you too, Dad." They stood there for a long moment, father and daughter, in the office of a business built on kindness. The following week, Marcus got a call he never expected. It was from a reporter at the New York Times. "Mr. Thompson, my name is Amanda Walsh. I'm working on a story about second-chance employers' businesses that hire people. Other companies won't touch. Your name keeps coming up. Would you be willing to do an interview?" Marcus almost said no. He didn't want attention. He didn't want fame. He just wanted to do his work and help people. But then he thought about Eleanor. "Your story can inspire people, Mr. Thompson. It can show them that kindness matters." "Okay," he said. "I'll do it." The interview took 3 hours. Amanda asked about everything: his childhood in Chicago, his father's influence, Maria's death, Lily's surgery, Eleanor's gift. She asked about the people he had hired and the people he had helped. She asked about his philosophy, his failures, his regrets. Marcus answered honestly. "I'm not a saint," he told her. "I'm not special. I'm just a mechanic who got lucky. Someone believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. All I'm trying to do is pass that on." "But you've built something remarkable here. A business that's profitable and ethical. A training program that's given dozens of people careers. A charitable fund that's launched 7 other businesses. How do you explain that?" Marcus thought for a moment. "I don't know if I can explain it. All I know is that my father taught me to treat every customer like family. My wife taught me that love is stronger than fear. And Eleanor Chen taught me that kindness is the best investment you can make. I just put all those lessons together and tried to live them." What would you say to someone who thinks kindness is weakness, that nice guys finish last? Marcus smiled. "I'd say look around. Look at this building. Look at my daughter. Look at the people we've helped. Then tell me kindness is weakness. The cruel people, the selfish people, the ones who step on others to get ahead, they might win in the short term. But in the long run, they end up alone. Empty. Broken." He leaned forward. "My old boss fired me for helping a stranger. 3 years later, he came to me bankrupt, begging for work. I gave him a referral and wished him well. That's not weakness. That's strength. Real strength. The kind that builds things instead of destroying them." The article ran 2 weeks later. It was titled, "The Mechanic Who Proves Nice Guys Can Finish First." Within a month, Thompson Automotive had become a national story. The attention brought opportunities Marcus never anticipated. Business schools invited him to speak. Companies asked him to consult. Politicians wanted to use his story as an example of American entrepreneurship. Marcus turned most of them down. "I'm not a celebrity," he told Jessica, who had stayed on to manage Eleanor's charitable fund. "I'm a mechanic. I fix cars. That's what I do." "With respect, Mr. Thompson, you do a lot more than that." "Maybe. But I don't want to lose sight of what matters, the work, the people, the seeds." He did accept a few invitations. He spoke at community colleges, sharing his story with young people who came from backgrounds like his. He met with legislators pushing for second-chance employment programs. He testified before a state committee about the importance of vocational training. But he always came back to the shop, always came back to the work, always came back to the lessons his father had taught him in a 2-bay garage in Chicago. "Your hands are your word, son. When you fix something, you're making a promise. Don't ever break it." On the 4th anniversary of Thompson Automotive, Marcus held a celebration. All the employees came. All 7 business owners he had helped came. Lily came with her friends from school. Denise came with her family. Even some customers showed up, people who had become part of the Thompson Automotive family over the years. Marcus stood in the center of the shop floor, surrounded by everyone he loved, and raised a glass. 4 years ago, I was fired for fixing a stranger's car for free. I walked home with nothing but the clothes on my back and a $20 bill in my pocket. I thought my life was over. He looked around at the faces watching him. But it wasn't over. It was just beginning. Because sometimes the worst things that happen to us are actually the best things. Sometimes we have to lose everything to find what really matters. He raised his glass higher. "This business isn't mine. It belongs to all of you, to everyone who believed in me, to everyone who gave me a chance, to Eleanor Chen, who saw something in me I couldn't see in myself. This is her legacy. This is our legacy. And as long as I'm breathing, I'm going to keep building it." The crowd cheered. Glasses clinked. Music played. And in the middle of it all, Marcus Thompson stood with his daughter by his side, thinking about seeds and growth and the strange paths that lead us home. He thought about his father, who died with nothing in the bank but left behind something priceless. He thought about Maria, who taught him that love was worth fighting for. He thought about Eleanor, who proved that one person with a good heart could change the world. And he thought about the future. The people he would help, the lives he would change, the seeds he would plant. Marcus looked at Lily. "You know what I was thinking about?" "What, Dad?" "That $20 bill, the one Eleanor threw at me. It's still in my office in that frame." "I know. You look at it every day." "I do. And you know what I realized? That piece of paper is worth more than all the money in the world, because it reminds me of the most important lesson I've ever learned." "What lesson?" Marcus put his arm around his daughter. "That when someone tries to make you feel worthless, you pick yourself up with dignity, you keep going, you keep being kind, and eventually the universe rewards you in ways you never could have imagined." Lily leaned into him. "I love you, Dad. I love you too, baby, more than anything." The party continued around them, but in that moment the noise faded away. There was just a father and his daughter standing in a building that bore their names, surrounded by the lives they had touched. And somewhere Marcus was certain Eleanor was watching, smiling. 5 years had passed since the day Marcus Thompson was fired for fixing a stranger's car. 5 years since he walked home in the Arizona heat with nothing but a $20 bill and a broken heart. 5 years since Eleanor Chen revealed herself and changed everything. Now, on a crisp October morning, Marcus stood in front of a building he never could have imagined. Not Thompson Automotive. That building had become just one of 3 locations across Arizona. This building was different. This building was new. The sign above the entrance read, "The Eleanor Chen Foundation for Second Chances." It was a training center, a community hub, and a headquarters for the charitable work that had grown far beyond anything Marcus had planned. Inside those walls, young people from difficult backgrounds learned trades. Ex-convicts prepared for job interviews. Single mothers gained skills that would change their families' futures. And it all traced back to a moment of kindness in a sweltering auto shop. Marcus adjusted his tie. He still wasn't comfortable in formal clothes, but today was special, and walked inside. The main hall was already filling with people. Reporters, city officials, business leaders, and scattered among them the faces that mattered most. The 31 people Marcus had personally tested and invested in over the past 5 years. 31 businesses. 31 transformed lives. 31 seeds that had grown into something beautiful. Jessica approached him with a tablet in her hand. "Mr. Thompson, the mayor is here, and the governor's office sent a representative. CNN wants to do a live interview after the ceremony." "CNN. Your story has gone national, Mr. Thompson. People want to hear it." Marcus shook his head. "It's not my story. It's Eleanor's story. I'm just carrying it forward." Jessica smiled. "She would have said the same thing about you." The ceremony began at 10 o'clock. Marcus sat in the front row next to Lily, who was now 17 years old and more brilliant than ever. She had been accepted to MIT on a full scholarship. In 3 months, she would leave Phoenix for Cambridge, Massachusetts, to study mechanical engineering. The thought of her leaving still made Marcus's chest tight. But it was a good kind of tight. The kind that came from pride, not fear. The mayor spoke first, praising the foundation's work and its impact on the community. The governor's representative read a proclamation declaring October 15th Eleanor Chen Day in the state of Arizona. A young woman named Rosa, who had graduated from the foundation's training program and now managed her own restaurant, shared her story through tears. Then it was Marcus's turn. He walked to the podium and looked out at the crowd. So many faces, so many stories, so many lives connected by threads of kindness and chance. 10 years ago, he began. My father died in a garage in Chicago. He was 63 years old. He had been a mechanic his whole life. He never made much money. He never owned a house. He never took a vacation. But everyone in his neighborhood knew Samuel Thompson. They knew him because he was honest, because he was kind, because he would fix your car, even if you couldn't pay, and he would do it with a smile. Marcus paused, steadying himself. When he died, I thought his legacy died with him. I thought all those lessons he taught me about integrity, about kindness, about treating people right, I thought they were outdated. I thought the world had moved on. I thought nice guys finished last. He looked at Lily. I was wrong. He told the story then, the whole story. The day he was fired, the $20 bill, Eleanor's test, the gift that changed everything, the promise he made at her bedside, the work that followed. Eleanor Chen believed that kindness was the most powerful force in the universe, he said. She believed that if you plant enough seeds, eventually, you create a forest. She believed that one person with a good heart could change the world. He gestured at the building around them. This is her forest. This is her legacy, not the money she gave, not the buildings she funded. This, all of you, every person in this room who was touched by her generosity. Every life that was changed because she believed kindness mattered. Marcus felt tears on his cheeks but didn't wipe them away. I'm not a special person. I'm not a hero. I'm just a mechanic who got lucky. But I made a promise to Eleanor before she died, and I intend to keep it. I promised to help people the way she helped me. I promised to plant seeds. I promised to choose kindness over profit every single time. He looked directly into the CNN camera. And I'm asking everyone watching to make the same promise. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to be powerful. You just have to care. Find someone who needs help. Give them a chance. Believe in them when no one else will. That's how we change the world. Not with money or politics or power. With kindness. One person at a time. One seed at a time. The crowd rose to its feet. The applause was deafening, but Marcus barely heard it. He was thinking about Eleanor, about his father, about Maria, about all the people who had shaped him into the man he was. And he was thinking about the future, the seeds he would plant tomorrow and the day after and every day until his last breath. After the ceremony, Lily found him alone in a quiet hallway. Dad, hey baby. That was a good speech. You think so? Yeah, Mom would have cried. Marcus smiled. Your mom cried at everything. Remember when she cried at that dog food commercial? Lily laughed. The one where the puppy reunites with the soldier, she went through half a box of tissues. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Dad, can I ask you something? Anything. Lily hesitated. Are you scared about me leaving for MIT? Marcus looked at his daughter. This remarkable young woman who had survived a broken heart literally and figuratively, and emerged stronger than anyone he had ever known. Terrified, he admitted. Really, really. You're my whole world, Lily. The thought of you being 3,000 miles away? He shook his head. It keeps me up at night. Then why do you want me to go? Because it's not about what I want. It's about what you need. You need to grow. You need to explore. You need to become the person you're meant to be. And you can't do that if you stay here working at the shop taking care of your old man. Lily's eyes filled with tears. What if I fail? What if I'm not smart enough? What if... Hey! Marcus took her hands. Look at me. She looked. You are the smartest, strongest, most compassionate person I have ever known. You survived a heart condition that should have killed you. You watched your mother die and kept going. You helped me build a business from nothing. You have more courage in your little finger than most people have in their entire bodies. He squeezed her hands. You're not going to fail, Lily. You're going to succeed in ways neither of us can imagine. And when you do, I'll be right here cheering you on. Just like your mom. Just like Eleanor. Just like everyone who's ever believed in you. Lily threw her arms around him. I love you, Dad. I love you too, baby, more than anything in this world. They held each other for a long time. 3 months later, Marcus drove Lily to the airport. The drive was quiet. Neither of them knew what to say. Everything felt too big for words. At the departure gate, Lily turned to face him. Dad, I want you to have something. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small object wrapped in tissue paper. Marcus unwrapped it. It was a keychain, a simple metal disc with an engraving. Thompson Automotive, where integrity drives. I had it made, Lily said, for your keys, so you remember that no matter how far away I am, I'm still part of the business, still part of the family, still part of everything you built. Marcus's vision blurred. Lily, and I want you to know something else. She took a deep breath. When I graduate, I'm coming back. I'm going to work at the foundation. I'm going to help you plant seeds. I'm going to carry on what you started, and what Eleanor started, and what Grandpa started. This is my legacy too, Dad, and I'm not walking away from it. Marcus pulled her into a hug so tight he was afraid he might break her. I'm so proud of you, he whispered. Your mom is so proud of you. Eleanor is so proud of you. I know, Dad. I know. The boarding announcement came over the speakers. Lily pulled back, wiped her eyes, and shouldered her bag. I'll call you when I land. You better. And Dad? Yeah. Don't work too hard. Okay, hire more people. Take some time off. Maybe even go on a date. Marcus laughed despite himself. A date? You've been alone for 7 years, Dad. Mom wouldn't want that. She'd want you to be happy. I am happy. You know what I mean. He did know. He had thought about it. But there had always been something more pressing the business the foundation Lily's needs. He had put his own life on hold for so long that he had forgotten what it felt like to want something for himself. I'll think about it, he said. Promise? Promise. Lily kissed his cheek. I love you, Dad. I love you too, baby. Now go. Change the world. She smiled that smile, Maria's smile, and walked through the gate. Marcus watched until she disappeared. Then he stood there for another 10 minutes, unable to move. The drive home was the loneliest Marcus had ever experienced. The house felt empty without Lily. Her room was still full of her things posters on the walls, books on the shelves, the laptop Eleanor had given her years ago sitting on the desk. But the life was gone. The laughter was gone. The sound of her footsteps on the stairs was gone. Marcus sat on the couch and stared at the wall. He thought about calling Denise, about going to the shop, about doing something, anything to fill the silence. Instead, he walked to his bedroom and opened the closet. In the back, behind old coats and boxes of tax returns, was a wooden chest. Marcus hadn't opened it in years. He pulled it out, sat on the bed, and lifted the lid. Inside were memories. Maria's wedding ring, the program from her funeral, photos of their life together, their wedding day, Lily's first steps, family vacations before the cancer came. And at the bottom, a letter. Marcus had read it 100 times, but he read it again now. Dear Marcus, if you're reading this, then I'm gone. I'm sorry I had to leave you. I'm sorry I won't be there to see Lily grow up, to watch her graduate, to dance at her wedding. But I need you to know something. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. From the moment I met you, I knew you were special. Not because you were rich or successful or powerful. Because you were kind. Because you saw me. Really saw me when everyone else looked right through me. I want you to promise me something. Don't close yourself off. Don't spend the rest of your life alone. You have so much love to give, Marcus. Don't waste it on grief. Find someone who makes you happy. Fall in love again. Build a new life. It won't be a betrayal of me. It will be an honor to me. Because the greatest gift you can give me is to keep living, to keep loving, to keep being the remarkable man I fell in love with. Take care of our daughter. She's going to need you. And take care of yourself. I love you, Marcus. Forever. Maria. Marcus pressed the letter to his chest. He had read those words so many times, but tonight they hit differently. Fall in love again. Build a new life. Maybe Lily was right. Maybe it was time. A year passed. Thompson Automotive expanded to 5 locations across Arizona and New Mexico. The Eleanor Chen Foundation helped over 200 people find new careers. The 31 businesses Marcus had personally launched continued to thrive, and several of their owners had started helping others in turn. The seeds were multiplying. Marcus hired a CEO to run the day-to-day operations of the business. He stepped back from the foundation, letting Jessica and a board of directors handle the administrative work. For the first time in years, he had time. Time to think, time to breathe, time to live. He started taking walks in the evening. He reconnected with old friends. He even hesitantly began dating again. Her name was Angela. She was a nurse at Phoenix Memorial, the same hospital where Lily had her surgery. They met at a foundation event and talked for 3 hours without noticing the time pass. Angela was different from Maria. Quieter, more reserved. She had her own scars, a divorce, an estranged son, years of working with people in their worst moments. But she understood loss. She understood resilience. And she understood Marcus in a way few people could. Their relationship grew slowly. Coffee dates, long phone calls, walks in the park. One evening, 6 months after they met, Angela asked Marcus about the $20 bill. They were sitting on his porch watching the sun set over the desert. "It's still in your office," she said. "In that frame. Every time I visit, I see you look at it. Does that bother you?" "No, I'm just curious. Why do you keep it?" Marcus thought about the question. "Because it reminds me of who I was, and who I became." He turned to face her. "That piece of paper represents the worst moment of my life. A woman threw it at my feet and called me pathetic. I was fired. I had nothing. I thought my life was over." He reached for Angela's hand. "But it also represents the best moment, because that woman was testing me, and because I passed everything changed. My daughter got her surgery. I got my business. I found my purpose. So it's a reminder. It's more than that. It's proof." He squeezed her hand. "Proof that the worst things that happen to us can become the best things. Proof that kindness matters. Proof that if you keep going even when everything seems lost, something beautiful might be waiting on the other side." Angela leaned her head on his shoulder. "You're a remarkable man, Marcus Thompson." "I'm just a mechanic." "No, you're much more than that." They sat in silence as the sun disappeared and the stars emerged. Lily graduated from MIT at the top of her class. Marcus flew to Cambridge for the ceremony. He sat in the audience with Angela Denise and a dozen friends from Phoenix watching his daughter walk across the stage in her cap and gown. She was 22 years old now. An engineer, a leader, a woman. After the ceremony, Lily found him in the crowd. "Dad." She threw her arms around him, diploma in hand. "You did it, baby. You really did it. I couldn't have done it without you, Dad. Without everything you taught me." "I didn't teach you anything. You taught yourself." Lily pulled back and shook her head. "That's not true. You taught me the most important lesson of all." "What's that?" "That kindness is strength. That integrity matters. That the measure of a person isn't what they achieve, it's how they treat people along the way." She smiled. "You think I learned that from textbooks? I learned it from watching you, Dad. Every single day." Marcus felt tears streaming down his face. "Your mom would be so proud of you." "She's here, Dad. I know she is. And Eleanor, too. They're all here." Marcus looked up at the sky. Maybe she was right. Maybe they were watching. Maybe they had been watching all along. True to her word, Lily came back to Phoenix. She joined the foundation, bringing fresh ideas and boundless energy. Within 2 years, she had expanded the programs to 3 new states. Within 5, the Eleanor Chen Foundation had become a national model for second-chance employment. Marcus watched his daughter grow into a leader, into a visionary, into someone who would carry the legacy far beyond anything he could have imagined. On his 60th birthday, Lily threw him a party at Thompson Automotive. The original location, the building where it all began. Over 500 people came. Employees past and present. Business owners he had helped. Community members. Friends and family. And in the crowd faces, he barely recognized people he had never met, but whose lives had been changed by ripples from the seeds he had planted. Lily gave a speech. "My father likes to say he's just a mechanic," she told the crowd. "He's wrong. He's so much more than that. He's a teacher, a mentor, a second chance giver, a seed planter. She looked at him with Maria's eyes. When I was 12 years old, I needed heart surgery. We had no money, no insurance, no hope. My dad could have given up. He could have become bitter. He could have turned hard. She shook her head. Instead, he fixed a stranger's car for free. He got fired. He got humiliated. And because of that one act of kindness, everything changed. A woman named Eleanor Chen saw something in him. She gave him a chance, and he has spent every day since then giving that same chance to others. Lily raised her glass. To my father, the kindest man I've ever known. The proof that nice guys don't finish last. They finish best. The crowd cheered. Marcus stood up, walked to his daughter, and hugged her tight. I love you, Lily. I love you too, Dad. He stepped to the microphone. The crowd fell silent. I don't have a long speech prepared, he said. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for being part of this journey. Thank you for proving every single day that kindness matters. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn piece of paper, the $20 bill. 23 years ago, a woman threw this at my feet and called me pathetic. I kept it. I framed it. I looked at it every single day, because it reminded me of a truth my father taught me a long time ago. He held the bill up for everyone to see. Kindness is not weakness. It is the most powerful force in the universe. It can transform enemies into allies. It can turn failure into success. It can take the worst day of your life and make it the first day of something beautiful. He looked at Lily, at Angela, at all the faces watching him. My father planted a seed in me. Eleanor Chen watered it, and together all of us have grown it into something I never could have imagined. That's the power of kindness. That's the legacy we're building. Not with money, not with power, with love. One person at a time, one seed at a time. He put the $20 bill back in his pocket. So keep planting, keep watering, keep believing, because the world needs more gardeners, and every single one of you has the power to change someone's life. The applause washed over him like a wave. Marcus Thompson, the mechanic from Chicago, who was once fired for being too kind, stood in the middle of his empire and smiled. Not because he was rich, not because he was famous, because he had kept his promises. To his father, to Maria, to Eleanor, to himself. And in the end, that was all that mattered. The seeds had been planted, the forest had grown, and the legacy would live forever. If this story touched your heart, leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Comment below which city you're watching from. I want to see how far Marcus's story has traveled. And remember, the kindness you show today might be the seed of tomorrow's miracle. You never know who's watching. You never know whose life you might change. Until the next story.